we'll have a video archive on this as well. This is Tony Taylor, who will introduce himself because he has a resume this long and has given this course in multiple institutions, churches, synagogues, places with 1,000 employees, etc. So this is a smaller venue for him, but he will tell us what to do in case.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, I appreciate you all inviting us to come. I consider it an honor, you know. God says, bless those who do and you'll curse those who curse you. So I hope you guys bless me today, right? I'll try to be a blessing to you today, okay? Some of you guys ask why I'm wearing a coat. Again, you're triggering. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a little odd, okay? And so what you want to know is, you'll say, why is this guy wearing a coat? Okay? I was at the grocery store the other day with my daughter. We do a little daddy-daughter thing. You know, we walk across the street to the grocery store. And some guy had a young guy with a beard. I have no problem with people with beards. You know what I mean? But he was walking to the cash register with nothing in his hands. And my mind was like, it's odd. You know what I mean? Why are you walking up to the cash register with nothing in your hands? And then he reached under his sweater like, well, that's just really not the thing to do. Especially when I'm with my daughter. I mean, I have anger issues, okay? So I just dropped everything. You know how people are all trying to get through the line? I don't care about the line. You know how people don't want to embarrass people? I don't know about embarrassing people. I'm very much focused on this young man with the beard at the cash register reaching under his shirt. And so I guess at some point, maybe the heat on the back of his head, he kind of looked around and saw me, and I'm on point. It's your move, brother. You know what I'm saying? And then he decided to pull his hand out and walk out, which was probably a good idea. You know what I'm saying? Because it wouldn't have ended well, you know, if he would have done something stupid. So the bottom line is that, you know, the number one thing is just the mercy of God to protect us, right? You all believe in that, right? Was it King David says, except the Lord guard the house, they labor in vain that watch it. Something like that. I totally screwed that up. But you guys know what I'm talking about, right? And but the idea is that, it's not by the grace of God, but under the sun, Solomon would say, is that, you know, you need to be alert. If some guy's walking in with a coat and he's sweating, what are you gonna do? Allah Akbar or Allah candy bar or what? You're gonna blow yourself up. You know what I mean? Might want to alert on that, okay? Because people, you know, will indicate things. So I'm gonna take my coat off now. All right.
Would you like some water?
Sure, I'll take some water. Okay. This is not a real gun. It's just a visual. You're a gun guy? Gun guy? Not a real gun? Not a real gun?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, if you ever go to a class where someone doesn't clear a weapon, you're in the wrong class. Okay? There we go. All right. So that's teaching point number one. So thanks for letting me take my coat off. Okay. Oh, and I'm on mic. You know what I mean? It's difficult being on mic because then I have to spend half my brain waters trying to make sure I don't say something stupid, which is unbearable. So I'll try to behave that I'm on mic. So anyhow, so number one, thank you for here. Number two, my background is, you know, all my life I've been in the military or security all my life. And my father was a soldier. My father's father was a soldier. Again, like Solomon said, I'm my father's son. And then on my wife's side, her mother was in a camp covered with lice in Austria. And my mom was in Salzburg in a park listening to the sound of music. And both these young ladies ran into soldiers, kind of redirected their lives there. So that's where I came from. That's where she came from. So, you know, we both have military backgrounds in that respect. So I've been doing this a long time. And as the gentleman said, I've done many different venues. I do synagogues. There's been a lot of phones from synagogues recently. We had about 125 calls. Can't figure out why. And a lot of synagogues, a lot of churches, billion-dollar companies downtown, you know, security companies. There were security experts here. I already met one tactical shooter. Where's my tactical shooter at? He's got the gun hat on. Where you at? I know you're here somewhere. There you go. Okay. So he's a tactical shooter. Who else? And someone else is a shooter. You're a shooter. You shoot too. Okay. So I got two shooters in the crowd. Anybody else? Deep cover, Mossad, Shin Bet, something. Israeli Defense Force. That's it. Just two shooters. Three shooters. Okay. You're a shooter too. Okay. Good. So you guys keep me straight, right? Okay. In case I lose my way. So yeah. So basically, my background is military, overseas, private security operations, which is a whole new ball of wax, and then government stuff. You know, law enforcement stuff. So I have a lot of background in these things. So that's me. That's my family. So here's our company, IFPC. which I appreciate you all contacting us and letting us come to this presentation. We're going to talk about active threat training. What does that mean? In the old days, they used to say active shooter, but it's not just shooters nowadays. You know, you've got acid attacks. You guys familiar with acid attacks? Nobody? Anybody? Anybody from Europe here? Kann sprechen Deutsch? Nobody from Europe? South Africa, right? Me and him were foreigners, okay? I was raised in Europe. But so this would be a threat, okay? So not just guns, but knives. So they don't call it active shooter, they call it active threat. So just get the terminology straight, okay? So active shooter, active threat. And then this will be our training. But I want to say from the beginning that you could do everything right and still lose. Anybody here with law enforcement, military background? And again, it's got to be more. Is there veterans here? Any military? Semper Fi? Okay, good. Okay. So the idea is that you can do everything right and catch a stray bullet. Nothing you can do. But what you do is you become a hardened target. You do certain things that increase your probability of survival. And I think it starts off what you guys are doing right now. Number one, you have an attitude that you want to know what's going on. Okay. Most people live in what's called cognitive dissonance, benign denial, normalcy bias. Okay. They just live in this dream. Okay. It happens like the synagogue got shot up in Pittsburgh. Right. And matter of fact, I trained one of the tactical officers there, and it's right down from one of my houses. And then all of a sudden the phone starts blowing up. I'm like, well, the threat was there before, but it just takes something to get people moving, which is, sad but true. But so you guys are doing the right thing. You guys are trying to become informed. Okay. And it's an attitude of security. Okay. You don't really have an option, really. I mean, the history of the Jews has been a battle for thousands of years. I mean, again, I'm from Austria. My mother's from Austria. And we have what's called the Stadt Temple. Anybody heard of Stadt Temple in Austria? There was 92 synagogues before the war and 185,000 Jews in Vienna. My wife went to the University of Vienna. And sure enough, after the war, there was like 11,000 Jews, and all the synagogues are burned under Kristallnacht. Now, I know you guys know what Kristallnacht is, right? Okay. And so, but the Stadt Temple was the only temple synagogue that survived because it's in the historical district and they didn't want to burn it down. But they did have a bad shooting there. What was it? I think in the 80s, Palestinian Liberation, whatever, went in there and shot up like 30 people, semi-automatics and hand grenades. And a lady threw herself on top of a baby to save the baby. She got killed. And it was just a horrible tragedy. It was a bar mitzvah. And so even though it survived the war, it still had a big problem later. Now the security is very tight. Now after the horse is out of the barn, they've super secured the facility. Okay. So anyhow, so we're talking about active threat. And we're talking about the need in your community, about the attitude of security, okay, as opposed to benign denial. So again, Homeland Security, which I guess is the big guys nowadays, they have codified so much of the thought out there, and so much of the thought is going in the same direction, which is a good thing. And so basically, we're using some energy. In fact, my partner made a bunch of copies. Let me get rid of this. This is not a real gun. Is that a real gun? No, not a real gun. Okay. So the idea is that through the climate, okay. So the idea is that Homeland Security is, I guess, the source now. Okay, fine. So here, yeah. In case there's some Homeland Security guys here, since I'm on mic, I'll behave. Now, is this going to work? Is it going to work?
It may feel like just another day at the office, but occasionally, life feels more like an action than reality. The authorities are working hard to protect you and to protect our public spaces. But sometimes bad people do bad things. Their motivations are different. The warning signs may vary, but the devastating effects are the same. And unfortunately, you need to be prepared for the worst. If you are ever to find yourself in the middle of an active shooter event, your survival may depend on whether or not you have a plan. The plan doesn't have to be complicated. There are 3 things you could do that make a difference: run, First and foremost, if you can get out, do. Always try to escape or evacuate, even when others insist on staying. Encourage others to leave with you, but don't let them slow you down with indecision. Remember what's important, you, not your stuff. Leave your belongings behind and try to find a way to get out safely. Trying to get yourself out of harm's way needs to be your #1 priority. Once you are out of the line of fire, try to prevent others from walking into the danger zone and call 911. If you can't get out safely, you need to find a place to hide. Act quickly and quietly. Try to secure your hiding place the best you can. Turn out lights, and if possible, remember to lock doors. Silence your ringer and vibration mode on your cell phone. And if you can't find a safe room or closet, try to conceal yourself behind large objects that may protect you. Do your best to remain quiet and calm. As a last resort, if your life is at risk, whether you are alone or working together as a group, fight. Act with aggression. Improvise weapons. Disarm him. And commit to taking the shooter down, no matter what. Try to be aware of your environment. Always have an exit plan. Know that in an incident like this, victims are generally chosen randomly. The event is unpredictable and may evolve quickly. The first responders on the scene are not there to evacuate or tend to the injured. They are well trained and are there to stop the shooter. Your actions can make a difference for your safety and survival. Be aware and be prepared. And if you find yourself facing an active shooter, there are 3 key things you need to remember to survive. Run, hide, fight.
All right, that was your tax dollars at work there. Homeland Security. I give them an A for their video, but let me go back and point out a few soft spots. Again, I'll give them an A. It's their Homeland Security. It's their tax dollars. But let's go over a few points. Number one, you're running out the building. What do you want to be carrying in your hands? You want to be carrying this when you're going out the. What happens if you go running out the door with this in your hands?
Looks like you have a rifle.
Or the AR-15.
Looks like you have a rifle.
You're going to get shot. Okay, not good. Run out with nothing in your hands. And the other thing about getting things is that so many times when there's an emergency situation, people go back for their purse and go back for their luggage. You can go on YouTube and watch airplanes crashing at sea, emphasis on crash, and you can watch the videos and they're going back and getting their luggage and filling the aisle with luggage. I'm like, you might want to get out on the raft. Just a thought. You know what I'm saying? But people tend, and I'll show you a video here in a second if we get to it, because I actually have some case studies after we get to the regular material, where a lady goes back for a purse, she has a gun to her head, and she goes back for her purse. So it must have been a very valuable purse, okay? Nothing against persons, but the idea is that don't go back for your stuff. Don't go running out the door with an umbrella or cell phone. Won't end well. Okay. Another thing that was troubling, not really troubling, but a little soft spot, is in the video they showed the people running up the stairs. 90% of the times you don't want to run upstairs, especially in a skyscraper, because in the military, for your military, Semper Fi, Marines, Army, what? I'm sorry?
Air Force.
I don't pick on the Air Force guy. But the point is that running upstairs, in the military, we call it channeling. I mean,
They were in the basement.
yeah, killing it. You're right, they were in the basement, but the optics of running upstairs. We have this happen all the time, like downtown. My brother-in-law is a Chicago fireman, and people just watch these movies and they run upstairs thinking a helicopter's going to come get off the building. No, number one, the door's locked. Number two, you're not going to make it up there. So the idea is that but the optics of running upstairs, not so good. But as you said, it was a basement. Another thing is the guy came out with this cannon, this shotgun. Okay. Now again, some of you gun people, what percentage of crimes are done with long guns? You know what I'm saying? You have a greater chance of getting killed by this hammer than getting killed by an AK-47. The vast percentage of your crimes are going to be pistols, okay? But people have this idea in their head that someone's going to go rob a store with a shotgun, okay? Probably not going to happen. I mean, very good gun, but probably not going to happen. So yeah, there's just a few soft spots. And then another thing, and again, I'm not picking on them because it's a video, but they run outside and stop. Do you really want to like stop right outside? Might want to, guns will shoot pretty good distance. Might want to like put a little distance, but again, it was a video, so we'll be kind to them. But yeah, you might want to not stop. You want to like keep running, okay? So again, but the idea is that overall I like it. And one thing I do like about it, it shows how people freeze up. The number one cause of death for officers is freezing. I mean, the average quote unquote civilian will freeze 3 to 20 seconds. The average officer will freeze 1.5 seconds. I tell people, if you're a 10-second freeze person, don't really want to go in law enforcement, okay? And freezing doesn't mean silence. Sometimes you've seen the videos where guys are just saying stuff, but they're freezing up. They're going into shock, which is understandable. Someone's shooting at them. Matter of fact, my buddy Sam Hernandez just got shot at Mercy Hospital the other day. You guys probably saw the news that the doctor, yeah, he caught one in the neck. In the military we call it slicing the pie. Third eye. And sure enough, he's gone now. So the idea is, yeah, it's kind of disconcerting having people shooting him. Matter of fact, one of the bullets hit his gun. A little disconcerting. But the idea is that again, people tend to freeze, and it tends to get them killed. And so a lot of times people freeze up and they won't want to leave. Okay. So the video did show that. That's a plus. So I'll give them an A since it's tax dollars. This little sign here is talking about emergency number, but it's more than just an emergency number. Is that I tell people, again, with my military background, it is called stovepipe. Send stuff upstairs to the head shed. If you step out of your synagogue and you see there's a car over there, every time you step out, do like I did with the jacket. How many of you guys said, hey, Captain Tony, stay a while, take the jacket off, take the jacket off. Alert on that stuff. And again, it's not about being paranoid, but just be sensitive to your environment. There's someone out there. And then I don't know exactly who's the leader here? Is the leader here? Boss?
Yeah.
Where's the boss now?
Yeah.
You're the boss.
The rabbi.
You're the rabbi. Okay. But how are you rabbi? Well, I've been called a lot worse than boss. So forgive me, rabbi, right? And so the idea is that, feed the information up, and then 90% of the time it's going to be nothing. But then when they put all the puzzle pieces together, they see that it's something, okay? So bottom line is that it's not just about 911, it's about feeding up information. And don't worry, that someone thinks you're like weird or whatever. Who cares? I stopped caring a long time ago. I'm kind of numb on these things. But about sending the information up. For example, one thing I noticed when I disarticulate, go ahead.
In terms of sending information, you may want to talk to the Northbrook Police Department and let them walk through, like in Chicago, they upload the plans of the building. So heaven forbid, if there is an event, they know all points of access and egress, and they know what they're walking into, as opposed to, I've never been that place before.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you want to have a good relationship with your local PD, police department. And but again, it's about information. Send the information forward. 90% of the time it's nothing, but send it forward. And that's what this is about. Again, in terms of these different active shooter events, this guy that just shot my buddy, they knew that he had issues. You know what I'm saying? There's always these issues that come up. And that's what I'm looking for. When I review these cases, I'm always like, okay, there had to have been a flag. For example, that Parkland shooting in Florida. The guy had been brought to the authorities 39 times. After like 10 or 20 times, let's sit down and talk to this kid. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got issues, okay? So the bottom line is that send the information forward. If it doesn't go anywhere, who cares? If someone thinks you're weird or whatever, who cares? Just send the information forward, you know? And that's just what this principle is about, sending information. Now in the corporate world, again, you got disgruntled employees. We were speaking, matter of fact, they're there today, my partner's there today. They had a situation where the guy next door shot the place up and killed half a dozen people. And so they thought it would be a good thing to have active shooter training here, you know what I mean? And then they had an incident, and then they had just before I spoke and just after I spoke, they had an incident. So, you know, people don't realize that workplace violence, disgruntled employees, it's every day. You know what I mean? Active shooter gets a lot of attention, but as far as regular things, it's every day. I mean, Chicago, someone gets shot every hour of every day, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You know what I mean? This is just unbelievable what goes on around here. And by the way, that's not normal. You know, it's not normal to have that level of carnage going on. But again, people get this normalcy bias that they hear about some place down in Norfolk that gets 11 people killed. I'm like, we get 11 people killed every weekend. We don't get no coverage. You know what I'm saying? And so the idea is people just kind of get used to this thing about what's going on around here. Okay. So the idea is that A, send the information forward, B, be sensitive to your environment. What's the profile of an active shooter? An active shooter is an individual who is actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined or populated area. In most cases, active shooters uses firearms, and there's no pattern to what they're doing. So what does an active shooter look like? What's his profile? So you have a murderer, you have a thief, you have a terrorist. And again, in this environment, you have to deal with the terrorist issue because of the jihad out there. Well, I got a jihad too. I got a struggle I'm going through too, friend. But you know, when you have people that have an ideology that they believe that the only way that they could be assured to go to heaven is to kill people of the book, that would be a problem for the people of the book. Okay, and there's Christians that believe in the book too, so they're mad at. Well, actually, they're mad at everybody. What does it say? That the hands against every man's hands against them. So we've got our little jihad thing going. So you have terrorists, you have active shooters, you have a thief. You know, you have different type of creatures out there, but you need to have a security system that's built for all that. Okay, an active shooter is unpredictable. Situation evolves quickly. And here's an interesting situation here. How long does the average active shooter event last? Any idea? 2 minutes? 11 minutes? Okay, so we're just talking just a few minutes. Now, again, you guys are intellectual people, okay? If I was to pull a gun out, and I got another one here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. This is not a real gun. Okay? But if I was to pull a gun out and start saying, tell me this isn't a real gun. Okay, good. Did I just destroy my computers here? Or did I destroy your computer?
Nope. That's all
I just pulled the power out. I did that on purpose. If I was to pull a gun out, it's not a real gun. These aren't real guns either. And say, I'm going to kill everybody. Some of you guys are going to grab that. Most people are going to go into shock. And everyone's going to assume the other guy's going to call. But someone's going to get through 911. How long before a cop shows up right here? 20 minutes?
2 minutes.
2 minutes?
In Chicago, it's 10 to 12.
10 to 12. Okay. 2 minutes. You better be sitting outside eating a donut. You know what I mean? That would be pretty quick. You know what I mean? But I'll give 10 minutes. What, you guys got a policeman right on the corner or something?
Right down the street.
Okay. Okay. 2 minutes. That would be unusual. But 10 minutes, whatever. And then of course it was Detroit, it'd be 2 hours, but that's a different story. Okay. But the idea is that I did do something. Did I? Did I screw this up?
Oh, there you go.
I didn't do it. I thought I made a mistake, but I didn't. That's a good thing. So the idea is that the average active shooter event can last 5 minutes. Most of them are not professional killers. They're mad at their girlfriend. They're mad at their boss. They come in. For example, this guy that just shot my buddy. He's mad at his girlfriend broke off the engagement. He shot her 6 times. And then he went into the hospital and just started shooting people. What was that? You know what I mean? I mean, you're mad at your girlfriend. You go and just kill some girl getting off an elevator. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that ridiculous? And so people try to get the mindset of these people. Well, again, there is some credence to learning the mindset, but it's about being a hard target. You know what I mean? It's about, I work with a lot of Israeli Defense Force guys. They're probably Mossad, Shin Bet, but we won't say that. But the idea is that they always talk about limiting the opportunity. You know what I mean? Being a hard target, okay? Someone walks in the door, the first guy's going to catch a bullet, it's all over. That's why you have security guards, okay? Because we're little
Pigeons.
yeah, we're a little, I won't call ourselves pigeons, but we are bullet magnets. They got to take us out first. That's why we have body armor, right? And so so pay the X amount of dollars, have a security, and he doesn't have to be tactical. He can just be a suit and tie. Yeah, I mean, everyone thinks he's a doorman, and everyone's giving him tips, which we appreciate tips. But the idea is that they can do the suit and tie thing, but have a dedicated security guy, and the bad guys know he's got to deal with this guy first, okay? But if they walk in and they get a regular person, it's very difficult to fix the situation for just the first person to take the hit. But further down the road, it's a different story. For example, like they have this thing where they're doing these car things. You've seen these where they're driving over 100 kids. I mean, come on, what are we dealing with here? I mean, you're going to take a car or a truck and drive over people. But in Israel, when they do that, if you look at the windshields are full of bullet holes. Okay, so the idea is that yeah, you can drive off the road. We can't control that, but we're going to fill your windshield full of bullets. In France, they run over 100 people before they get them down. So the idea is that the average active shooter event only lasts a few minutes, and the cops have X amount of time to get there. So the fact of the matter is, who keeps you alive for that 5 minutes before the cops come? That would be you. Okay. So again, so many times, and I don't mind. We don't mind the funding. I mean, all the extra money for tactical and all this other stuff. But the fact of the matter is, we need to have the people to be able to defend themselves and to be a hard target, because the cops are not sitting on every corner. In fact, you don't really want cops on every corner. Okay, there'll be a different issue. So the bottom line is that for that first 5 minutes, you got to keep yourself alive. Okay. Be aware of your environment, like we talked about earlier. How many exits? Well, you guys got a lot of exits here. You got a really nice facility. Now, there's all kinds of different synagogues and churches and buildings and office environments, and a lot of them really aren't this easy. See what I'm saying? I mean, I go into businesses, and it's like a mouse maze to get out of these businesses. And in fact, I was at a place the other day that had an airlock. You know what I mean? Because they were doing some Men in Black stuff or whatever. I don't know what they were doing in there, but they had this little airlock thing. And I thought, well, what happens when everyone charges that door? You guys are familiar with E2? The E2 fire or the Stampede? Yeah, what happened? Well, it's like, how many people? Like 50 people, some crazy number? Got killed. You know what I mean? So the airlock's fine. I appreciate that, but you might want to have some system to get these people out here on a mass basis. So the idea is that you want to know where your exits are. Where's your fire extinguisher at? Anybody know? Smart lady. A wise woman is from the Lord, right? And so I teach all my security guys, when I walk up to them, where's the fire extinguisher? Oh, no, that's not the answer. You know, where's the fire extinguisher? Where's the exit? Where's the ingress, egress? Okay, if you're not doing that, not a very good security guard. We need to know your environment. Yourself, when you walk into a place, for example, I do movie therapy. You know, after doing this stuff all week long, I go watch shoot 'em ups, you know. But when I go to the theater, first thing I do is, okay, everyone's going to rush that door. I'm going out that door. You know what I mean? I just map it out. And then when I sit at a restaurant, I'm one of these guys that's got to sit with my back against the wall. You know what I mean? It's just, I can't eat unless I'm observing everything. But the idea is I'm thinking about this stuff 24/7. You know what I mean? When I do bodyguard work, you know what I mean, the most dangerous time for people in the bodyguard is when they're walking from their house to their car in the morning. You know what I mean? Because the bad guys know you're leaving. You may not know when you're coming back, but he knows when you're leaving. So when you walk to the car, don't be in la la land. You know what I mean? I mean, and what do you carry in your gun hand? Your gun, if you have a gun. You know what I'm saying? But the idea is that I tell people, keep your right hand free. I mean, just have a mentality of being aware. And I get in the car, and even though I'm a fighter, I've been fighting all my life. First thing I do is lock that door. You know, where you're a scaredy cat. I'm not a scaredy cat. I go to places most people don't go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm running up down 5-story crack houses at 3 o'clock in the morning. Most people don't do. And then you got to beat someone up when you get there. You know what I mean? Don't put that on tape. But the idea is that, yeah, kind of hard to walk that back. But the point is that the idea is that, you know, I go to places most people don't want to go. So it's not about being afraid. It's about being wise. You know what I mean? Walk circumspectly. You know, be in touch with your environment. Don't be, you know in cloud nine, whatever. So the bottom line is that you know, be aware of your environment, know your exits. In terms of your office, I don't know why it says this, but it says if you're in an office, stay there. Is that what you want to do? So you're over there and you hear shooting over here. You want to stay there, right? Okay, let's go back to the video. The principles that everyone seems to be codifying on is run, hide, fight. Run, hide, fight. Okay, your highest statistical probability of survival is to run. Okay, and the average bad guy is not a super ninja killer. Okay, and even the shooter guys will tell you it takes X amount of time to get on target. OODA loop, observe, orient, direct, and act. You know what I mean? And so if you're running, I mean, I train all kinds of people, security officers, concealed carry, and I'm having them standing there shooting at a paper target that's life size, and they still can't hit the target. I mean, what do you think some guy's going to do when someone's running? You know what I'm saying? So the idea is that run, hide, fight. Okay. And again, if you're stuck in some skyscraper somewhere and you're hiding, but you don't want to just hide, you want to barricade. We'll get into that in a second again. But the final essence is you want to fight. So you're stuck in an office environment. Is there anything you can fight with? Do you have anything that you can put upside this guy's head? You know what I'm saying? Or are you just going to just die? Dying is not such a good option. And one of the things they showed in the video was this fire extinguisher. I love these things. $12. They're like, why do you have so many fire extinguishers? Because I'm very sensitive to fires. You know what I'm saying? And so most people don't get upset if you have a fire extinguisher, okay? And so I think those are great. But again, you don't want to show up at a gunfight with a fire extinguisher. You know what I mean? But if you have to, I'd rather have that than nothing, okay? So the idea is that you want to run, okay? And so that's your highest probability of survival. Okay, so your last resort is to fight. Most people are not fighters. You know, we're lovers, we're not fighters, right? Okay, so this is way too small. Can you guys read this? No, yes. We gave you a handout. Hopefully that'll work.
Yes.
Again, but the concept is basically this, is that running is your highest probability of survival. And for your family, likewise. You just got to grab them and go. And again, a lot of people go into shock, just grab them and get out of there, like I showed in the video. And then as far as hiding is one thing, but again, the military guys and shooter guys can tell you there's a difference between cover and concealment. You know what I mean? Hide, but then if you can, barricade. I don't really see a lot of barricading going on in here. No, not going to happen. Okay, but I do like the idea. You got plenty of exits to get out of. That's a good thing. Okay. And again, you guys don't really have like a safe room here. Oh, maybe you do. They didn't tell me. I didn't see one.
Not really.
Okay, so that's not gonna happen. Okay, but the idea is, again, maybe in your work environment, you might have like a safe room type thing in your home or something, but it needs to be a safe room. I mean, a lot of people think they're safe and they're not really safe. All they're doing is locking themselves in. I mean, the average active shooter shoots people at a distance of 3 feet. Why? Because they're hiding under a desk. I mean, desks don't provide these kind of desks here don't provide much security. Okay, so again, and then once you have presence of mind, which most people don't have, call 911. And then they have scripts that they'll run you through. Where's the shooter? What's he wearing? Where's he heading to? They're gonna want to data mine all that information out of you. But don't worry about that. Just get the 911. And it shows in the video, don't have the alarm going off and everything else. That would be counterproductive. And then when it comes to fighting, you have what's called force multipliers. For example, I love this stuff.
Why,
I'm sorry?
Why when you're leaving the building, pushing the fire alarm, why is that not the fight?
Well, it's a common thought. A lot of people think that they can do that, but it generally creates havoc in the sense that people are running into the fire, into the line of fire. You know what I'm saying? So the tendency is we'll set up the fire alarm, but that it just over time it's been shown not to be effective. Okay, and I think most of the people agree that that's not the way to go. Okay, especially in a different environment. Like I said, if you had for example, I teach at schools. There's 2,000 kids and 250 staff. A fire alarm would just be like, everyone would be running everywhere like it. So no, we just find that fire alarms just aren't going to get it done. Okay, I mean it's a logical thought, but in reality, it just doesn't work out. Okay, so the bottom line is that so in terms of fighting, you have force multipliers. Again, there's different environments, but I love this pepper spray stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, you don't want to do the E2 thing, so you want to use gel, so everyone doesn't panic. You're familiar with the gel? It doesn't dissipate as much and so forth. But again, depending on your local laws and rules, and I don't even know if you guys are in certain municipality limits or whatever, but you want to have what's called force multipliers. I mean, you could have simple things, like I said, things that are sitting at your desk can be used as a force multiplier. Even a baton. I mean, again, go with your local laws, but you guys are familiar with these?
Yep.
Yeah, aluminum, half the weight of steel, 80% of the power, that's enough. That's all I need is 80%. But the idea is that you want to have force multipliers if you can. You don't really want to be, you're not really disarmed. You have all kinds of things around you can defend yourself with. Or, again, you could break their concentration. I don't want to throw one of your books around, but just some songbook, okay? Is that okay, Rabbi? A songbook or something you could throw at them just to distract them and get away. I'm sorry?
In that situation, you could throw all the books.
Except for that one. Don't go in there, right? That would be problematic. So the idea is that, again, the idea is to fight. So how do we respond to law enforcement? They got this whole discussion there. Again, don't go running out with something in your hands. Don't grab hold of law enforcement. And again, the videos show all these guys coming in tactical gear. I mean, I'm very familiar with that, but that's not the first person you see. First person you see some cop, singular, you know what I mean, and he doesn't even know where to go. But don't grab this guy. His job is to go in and neutralize the bad guy, okay? And he's not there to do medical either, okay? You guys are familiar with the concept of the triage, someone bleeding out. I wear these belts that have these multiple holes in them that you can make a tourniquet out of very easily. Or even if you don't have one of those, use whatever. We just saved an officer the other day in Cicero. You heard about it on the news? This guy got shot 6 times and someone put a tourniquet on a femoral. That's crazy. I mean, normally you bleed out within seconds, but he was able to save the kid. You know what I mean? So the idea is that your response to the cops is don't hold them back, give them whatever information you can, and let them go do their business. Okay? And people tend to just hang on and they want to focus on injuries and so forth. That's not our job. Our job is to go get the bad guy, neutralize that, and so forth. So basically, as I said earlier, see something, say something, feed information forward, be aware, and don't worry. And again, my position is, I implore you, don't worry about the sensitivities. I stopped with the sensitivities a long time ago. You know what I mean? When they shot up 30 people in that synagogue in Austria, in Vienna, you stop worrying about sensitivities. Okay, we're worrying about the 30 people that shot. You know what I mean? That kind of troubles me. And what was it? 11 got shot in Pittsburgh at the synagogue.
Yes. And
so, you know, and there's just no end to these things, you know. And that's just the synagogues. You know, let's talk about the regular carnage going on in Chicago. Chicago has a massive active shooter event like every week. We just don't even get it on the news. So about sending information forward, and when you drill down on these scenarios, you study them, there was always all kinds of flags that people just ignored, okay, which is crazy, okay? So now let me give you some, and again, that's our operation. Now let me give you, I've given you the theory, the text type stuff, and we ran over it at length. Now what I'd like to do is actually give you some threat recognition, and I'd like to give you some actual cases, okay? And for the remainder of our time. Is again, the concept is run, hide, fight. Your highest probability is their survival is to run. Now, again, I'm talking to the regular people. If you're security, okay, you're supposed to run to the sound. You know, I mean, if you're the shooter, you're trained, you know, you go in there and you take out the bad guy. That's just our lot in life. You know what I'm saying? We go to the sound of the guns. But if you're not security, you get out, you take the little ones and you get out of there, okay? But if you get cornered, fight. I mean, your highest probability of survival is to be active, not just wait there. For example, the Death Eagle concert in Paris. Number one, don't go to a Death Eagle concert. But number two, there was 1,500 people there, and 7 guys came in there and shot the place up and injured 400 people. What was that?
I just.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's how my wife wakes me up. She wakes me up with a stick. I'm like, oh, what was that? You know? So the idea is that, but anyhow, 400 people got hurt. How does 7 guys take out 400 people? See what I'm saying? Obviously, they don't have a Second Amendment over there. You know what I mean? But it's just ridiculous. And then when they were out of ammo, they went to, you know, I just accidentally did it. They went to their knives. You know what I mean? They had no exit strategy. See what I'm saying? Again, they have an ideology. They're on a mission. So the bottom is run, hide, fight. Okay. Crime. You know, we're awash with crime. When you look at property crimes, burglaries, assaults, people going to people's houses, stolen cars, very high in Chicago, rape, murder, so forth. You know, it's unbelievable. We just kind of go numb to these numbers. Okay. What does the first active shooter look like? Anybody know who she is?
Patty.
Not Patty Hearst. Close. You know what I mean? Same, both in California. I don't know what's up with California. Must be something in the water. But yeah, this is the first active shooter in the modern history of the school. And they made a song about her. I don't like Mondays. You know, she shot the school up, and they said, why did you shoot the school? I don't like Mondays. Well, I don't like Mondays either, but try not to shoot the school up, lady. You know what I mean? But she was just a kid. So, you know, when you talk about threat recognition, who's going to consider this girl a threat? You know what I mean? Some little kid. You know what I mean? But she was dangerous, and she wrecked the whole school, okay? And then this lady, you guys know this lady locally. Situation's a little different. Yeah, situation's a little different. Yeah, but there was flags. You know, there's number one, someone got stabbed. That's not a good thing. She beat that case though. But the idea is that, you know, very, very sad situation, but there's indications that something's going sideways. Okay, we need to say something. Okay, pull them aside, have a cup of coffee, get the rabbi, get whoever, law enforcement, get someone to sit down and say, hey, look, we need to talk. And who are these young ladies? Nice ladies? Okay, this is Barbie and Ken. These are the girls this girl from Canada, A. You know, they were capturing people and videotaping them doing really bad things. But people wouldn't recognize her as a threat. Anybody's a threat, okay? These people were unbelievable with their carnage. And this young lady over here, she had the House of Death. If you go to a bed and breakfast and it's called House of Death, don't. Yeah, wrong place. You know what I mean? The idea is that, and this girl had all kinds of bodies. You know what I mean? So again, people don't recognize people as a threat, but they're a threat. Anybody could be a threat. Okay. Now, who's the bad guy here? They're both bad guys. Okay. One guy's just got daddy issues with him. I don't know this guy's tattoos and you know. But this guy here is probably the Zodiac killer. You know, law enforcement guys know we had a hard time closing that case, but he was probably the one that was a Zodiac killer. But most people wouldn't recognize the threat. They'd walk him right in, move him right up to the accounting department, stone cold killer. You know what I mean? And he used to like writing notes, you know, making fun of the cops and all that. But this is kind of, I guess I'm getting old. Most people don't know what Zodiac killer. Anybody know about him? Okay, good. So again, it's about threat recognition. Now, this guy here was a hunter, Bundy, okay? And he would walk around with the little brace on his arm. Oh, could you help me put the milk in my car? I got to feed my cats. I'm like, this dude's a bad guy, okay? And so you would never recognize him as a threat, but he was cunning. He was a hunter. This is a guy I knew personally. He's from Austrian descent. And he was the baddest guy I ever met in my life. But this guy was, again, he wasn't so sophisticated, but he was a hunter. Matter of fact, two of my buddies were hunted by Gacy, a local guy here. I mean, one lived next to him. I mean, and Gacy was dressed up as a cop at night and stuff. Where like, aren't you? So that's the guy had a lot of issues, but the cops were onto him. But you know, it's just too many bodies. But some of these guys are sophisticated, some are not sophisticated. Anybody remember the Ripper Crew? Anybody? No one even remembers the Ripper Crew. 81, 82? Wow. Okay, Jack the Ripper Crew. I'll let you read about it. Unbelievable. But it was all going on, and these guys were not sophisticated. Well, the leader was, but the workers were just clowns. You know, like I said, I've had the opportunity to meet some of these guys, and they weren't so sophisticated, but the leader was sophisticated. How about this young lady? Is she a threat? Anybody gonna mess with her? Anybody gonna give her a hard time? This was right down the street. You guys ever heard about this case?
This is the one in the airport?
Yeah. Yeah. And she, well, you know, I lost my ticket to Paris. Can you help me out? Sure, lady. I mean, she was able to get through the security continuously, even though we have all this TSA stuff. So again, it's about threat recognition. Sir, why are you wearing that hot coat in here? You know what I mean? Hey, lady, don't I see you every week flying to Paris or to Venice or, you know, who is this girl? You know what I mean? And so the idea is that you have to raise your awareness for what's called threat recognition. Thankfully, she wasn't a serial killer like the other lady, but she was totally thwarting all that what we call security theater at the airport. She's walking right through it like it was butter. Okay, a little embarrassing. Here's another statistic a lot of law enforcement don't like, but the reality is that first 5 minutes are yours. And if you can become a hard target, I don't know how many people here conceal carry. I don't know how many people go to defense classes, but I go to some places that all kinds of people are concealed carry. Would be a really bad place for someone to act up. Okay, so I'm a strong believer in self-defense. And again, my wife's from Vienna, but I'm from the West Austria by Switzerland. Half my cousins are in Switzerland, and Switzerland has not been invaded in 600 years. Why? Someone gave him a treaty. Did Hitler care about a treaty? No, he cared about the fact that it was required by law for everyone to own a rifle. Okay, so you got to go against a country with 7 million rifles? No, let's go the other way. Okay. No, absolutely. So I'm a strong believer in self-defense. Okay. Again, here's our weapon of choice. I mean, anybody know what CO2 does to someone's face? Freezes it. I mean, he was ugly to begin with. Now he's going to be really ugly. Okay. And then what am I going to do when the thing's empty? You are rough. You know what I mean? I didn't say that, but all I know is I'm not going out alone. I believe in the group plan. I mean, you're going with me, brother. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to come in here and hurt my little ones or whatever, and that's just, you got to the wrong place. I mean, I'm just not going to go with that program. This sad situation. Now, one thing I try to draw out of this one, if you guys remember this, a couple years ago in Gary, had like half a dozen bodies. And, but the thing is that this young lady, she was on the phone with this goof in an abandoned house, and she says, there's a dead body here. Now, I got a problem with that on several levels. Number one, why are you in an abandoned house with this clown? The number two, you're on the phone calling someone and telling them that there's a dead body there? What might you want to be doing? If he stepped out of the room and you're on the phone talking about, what might you want to do? Escape. Might want to get out of there. But again, people tend to freeze up. People tend to lock up, and it costs her life. Okay. And you guys all know about this situation, Columbine. Okay. Now, again, I got to put it on the law enforcement. They're all outside getting in a diamond formation, getting ready. And there's all this carnage going on the inside. Might want to get in there and help these people. So we've adjusted our tactics a little bit, but that was just ridiculous. And again, there was all kinds of flags. Kein Mehrheit für die Mitleid. Ach Deutsch, anybody? No pity to the masses. Listen to Rammstein, these different groups. These guys were feeding on this stuff. Kill for thrill? No? These guys were totally embellished in this whole culture of death. You know what I'm saying? And so someone might have went over and said, hey, son, I appreciate the trench coats. What are you listening to there? You know what I'm saying? They had all kinds of flags. No one did anything about it. And their intention was to blow the place up. They found out that bombs are a little more sophisticated than they thought they were. But they still caused a tremendous amount of damage, killed a lot of people. Now, this is an incredible case. I show this almost every class. Number one, if a guy walks in the room with a gun, this is not a real gun, and he sprays V for Vendetta on the wall, what might you want to do?
Get out.
That's a smart guy right there, okay? You know, and so the idea is that, but everyone just froze. And you'll notice that there's 6 grown men, all look in excess of 200 pounds, sitting at that table, and they all froze. It was crazy. But this is just amazing how people just have this tendency to just lock up. And so you need to break that, and you need to run, hide, fight, okay? And is this a professional shooter sitting there with his hand in his pocket? No, I don't think so, okay? Now, how about this one? Oikos University. This is an incredible case too. So you have a situation where 6 grown people, 6 grown men at a school board meeting, and they all freeze up. And Oikos University in Oakland, California, a guy walks in with a gun. This is not a real gun. And he says, I'm going to kill you. What's the optimum word there? I'm going to kill you. So what did everyone do? They froze like little bunnies, okay? Then he says, line up against the wall. I'm going to shoot you. So what did they do? They lined up against a wall. And then he went along and he shot this person, and he shot. And then when he got the 7th person, what did the 7th person do? No, they didn't run. He sat there and got shot in the chest and died. You know what I'm saying? So what is it that 6 people at the school board meeting freeze like bunnies? What is it that these 7 people at the university freeze like bunnies? And the guy's telling him he's going to kill him. So people have this deer in the headlight thing, 3 seconds to 20 seconds. Again, barricade yourself in, run, hide, fight, car weapons we talked about, force multiplier. Number 1 cause of death in workforce, according to OSHA. Now, here's a situation where you had 9 people, okay? Richard Speck, okay? And so someone knocks at your door. Don't open the door, okay? Man been drinking since 10 in the morning and raped a girl and took her gun, walked around the neighborhood at 10 o'clock at night, found this place. It was kind of a makeshift dorm. And he got in the house with a okay? A revolver, a little itty bit, not this is a big one, but a little one, and had like 5 bullets in it. And he had 9 nurses to take out, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So all, I have a gun, I'm gonna kill you. What might you want to do?
Charge.
Rush, swarm, kick, scratch, fight. And all these girls were what, 20 years old, one was 21, all young, strong girls, all educated nurses, and they just sat there, okay? And then he tied them all up, and then he systematically did really bad things to them, and no kids in here, right? Killed them, okay? So the idea is that, but one girl rolled underneath the bed and got away, thank God, okay? So 6 grown men at a school board meeting, froze. 7 people at Oikos University, froze. 9 nurses, froze. And they just get crushed. So again, how do we enhance our security at this synagogue? Number 1, it's by the mercy of God. Number 2, we have an attitude of security. It's a synagogue. We're not here to be all, tactical and what. No, we're here to worship and seek God. Yes, Rabbi? Yes. And so the idea is that, but at the same time, we have to live with the reality. There's people out there who don't like us. And their book 200 times says they don't like you. You know what I'm saying? And they're very determined. Matter of fact, the only way they can guarantee heaven is to have that blood. You know what I mean? Kind of a strange theology, but hey, you know what I mean? So the idea is that we need to deal with that reality, that there's bad people out there. And when it occurs, we don't freeze. We do what? 3 things. Run, hide, fight. And if you're a shooter, you run to the sound of the guns. You know what I'm saying? We have to make our peace with God a long time before it happens. You know what I mean? That we have to run in there and do what we got to do. But the bottom line is that it's just an incredibly tragic situation. School board, I'll show you a video here if I get it. By the way, these stickers, I don't know what's up with the stickers. They're not working too well. You can get them. In fact, they have very strict requirements how big they are. But anyhow, the Batman shooter, you know what I mean? The guy saw a sticker on the one movie theater, not the other. Well, he went to the theater that had the sticker because they're unarmed. I mean, he's not a tough guy. He's looking for easy targets, soft targets. Let's see if this works.
So what does that mean? I mean, every building in downtown Chicago has got the no guns.
Those
So
are called
if you
victim
have-
disarmament zones.
Yeah.
It's like if the bad guy wants to come kill people, that's where they come.
But if you have concealed carry, what do you do? Ignore the sign or?
Well, I'm not going to say you should ignore the sign. Too many lawyers in the crowd. I know there's got to be a lawyer in the crowd. And on tape. Thanks.
Don't go in and you wave and you say, hey, guess what? I have a gun.
6 grown men, school board meeting. Mostly school board meeting. Someone sprays V for Vendetta, that's always a go signal, okay? Now he pulls out a gun. Now someone got the memo. Someone started running. He tells the girl right there she can leave. So what does she do? She gets up and goes back for what? Her purse. Man just pointed a gun at her head and she went back for the purse. Purses are expensive. Now you gotta love this girl here. Her name is Ginger. I love Ginger. She smacks him. Yeah, that's my hero. And he turns his back on the 6 grown men for 13 seconds. What did those guys do with that 13 seconds? Nothing. Okay? Now he's sitting there with hot coffee. Where should that hot coffee be? Okay. Well, you guys are a rough crowd. Wow. I'm not going to be an active shooter in here.
I believe that when she said that, but what did she do? If you're gonna kill yourself or kill us.
By the way, if you're a hostage negotiator, never say the word kill. You know? Why don't we end this right now? You know?
I don't know who your wife is or what she did. I don't. I don't want to die like anybody else does it.
This must be able to sign papers, I'm sure, but he doesn't know.
He just threw his buddy under the bus. He signed the
Was she
paper.
a teacher? Was she a paraprofessional? Did she work in the classroom? Did she work in the cafeteria? Was she a bus driver? I don't know.
Hey, I will go with you. I will stand up with you, get your wife a job, whatever it takes. Hey, these other 4 guys who were.
Wait, listen. I'm the one that signed the paper, right? I don't remember, and I don't know who she is. But let them go. I'm the one that did it. I mean, they don't sign the papers. I'm the only one that signs them. Will you let them go? I don't want anybody to get hurt. And I've got a feeling that what you want is the cops come in and kill you because you're mad. Because you said you're going to die today. But why? This isn't worth it. This is a problem. Please don't. Please don't. Please.
Okay. Well, that didn't end well.
So you say never to try to negotiate?
Oh, I'm not saying, well, let me say this. What I'm saying is run, hide, fight. You got 6 grown men. Every one of those guys didn't look like they missed too many meals. You know, they're all over 200 pounds. You're going to stand there with this fool with a gun waving in your face, and you're not going to charge them? They should have been up over that desk. And then Ginger, who's the hero of the story, hits, and when I teach security classes, my security classes, I do 40-hour classes, so I got to kind of abbreviate for this class. But the idea is that he turns his back on them for 40 or for 13 seconds. So in answer to your question is run, hide, fight. You know what I'm saying?
I think the point is, I mean, in a situation like that, you might wind up shot anyway, so take the chance and rush the guy and hit him and fight, because you might wind up dead anyway.
You are a military guy. You know, statistically, the average person, when you shoot them, only has a 15% chance of dying the first time, okay? You have what's called neuromuscular incapacitation. If you do in the headlights, people die instantly. Even if they got a knife to someone's throat, they die instantly, okay? But the average guy that's sitting there doing this is not going to get NMI, neuromuscular incapacitation. Then we have what's called fatal T. And again, my friends from Israel, they believe in taking 5 shots. If you take 5 shots, you're going to hit that fatal T, okay? So the average person isn't going to be that good. So rush them, you know what I mean? And we have what's called the 21-foot rule. Again, you law enforcement guys would know 21-foot rule. Well, that 21-foot rule works both ways. I mean, if I'm within that 21-foot rule, I'm going to make you eat something. You're going to eat a fire extinguisher, a stapler, something. You know, we're going to go at it. And your highest probability of survival is to run, hide, fight. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm up over that thing. And again, for people that have been in situations, the advantage is that we get the go signal quickly. But people who are not used to it, like my brother-in-law is a fireman, like I said, he's also a paramedic, and he sees all these horrible situations. And but after a while, you kind of get numb to it and you just react. So, but the average person will freeze, and that's what these guys did. Is that close to answering your point? So again, you want to run, hide, fight. Okay. As far as negotiation, you know, even professional negotiators, hostage negotiators, which I've dealt with that stuff, you have about a 75% chance of talking a guy down. You know what I'm saying? But it's not 100%. Okay. So, and again, the average person, this guy's saying all the wrong things. Well, you want to get killed. You want the cops to kill you. You don't say that. You know, when you negotiate, you say, what kind of cigarettes do you like? That's the kind of questions you ask. You don't want to, did you have a good relationship with your mom? No, I didn't. Yeah. I mean, you don't want to be a negotiator. You know what I mean? You want to jump over that desk, take that hot coffee, do whatever you got to do, run, hide, fight. Now, let me see if I can screw this up here. Let me see.
The cameras pick up this whack job who was chasing this lawyer.
Okay, been on lawyers now. No lawyers in the crowd, right? What's incredible about that video is the girl with the orange shorts on talking on the phone. Anybody see that? There was a girl there standing there with orange. Let me back it up. I bought this for this presentation. It can't screw up, right? See her? See a lady on the phone? She puts the phone down and picks it back up again. Let me see if you see this.
The person who's taking the video.
I didn't even think about that. But see, she puts the phone down.
Not an unusual occurrence, but he decides he's going to do more than tell lawyer jokes. And here's the lawyer trying to hide behind the smallest tree you've ever seen while this man is firing off shots at him.
Okay, then she picks it up again. Isn't that incredible? So, I mean, no, there's a guy in front of you getting shot to pieces. Might want to leave or something, but don't sit there. There's this guy in front of me getting shot. It's not good. So anyhow, the point is that the principle of that is what's called OODA loop. Observe, orient, decide, and act. Is that the average shooter, and this guy didn't look like a professional assassin either, is not going to be able to get that round off. So this lawyer, who by the way did something bad to the guy's world, but the idea is that the guy couldn't get a beat on him. He's standing right in front of him. You know what I'm saying? And so again, the concept is run, hide, fight. Yeah, Chicago is just a war zone. It's what's crazy is going on out there. Most mass shootings are in Chicago. And then there's parts of Chicago that I work all over Chicago, but there's some places that are just like killing fields around here. It's just crazy what's going on out there. And again, we kind of get numb to it. You guys remember this one, Lane Bryant shooting? Yeah. You know what I mean? When I teach these classes, people come up to me and say, oh, that was my relative or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. The E2 fire, oh, that was my son was there. I'm like, I mean, it becomes, you wake up to the reality of it when it's your friends and neighbors that are getting destroyed. You guys know about the Brown chicken murder. And that clown, he got away with it for a decade. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they had some DNA for some chicken. I mean, you're going to shoot 7 people and throw some chicken on the ground. I mean, he wasn't the brightest guy. I've actually met the guy. You know what I mean? But the idea is that I purposely try to interview, go to death row and talk to people. And it's just amazing, these people. But they finally match the DNA after 10 years. Okay? And so it just becomes reality after a while. And then again, my buddy Sam, I'm not going to pick on the cops. There might be some cops in the room. But a lot of them don't have a very good solve rate. Isn't there one of my guys? So anyhow, so the point is that what I did was I gave you the Homeland Security wording, which is from on high. I mean, this is what Homeland Security says. And the idea is that you want to run, hide, fight. That's your highest probability of survival is to run. And again, backing up a little further, it's a mindset of security. Okay, when you read the Moses, the Pentateuch, the Tanakh, right? It's just battles all day long, unless I'm reading something different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I don't know how people can read that and not get it. Hey, we need to be strong. And even was it the Levites that guarded the temple? Okay. And so the idea is that these people were on point. You know what I mean? There's bad people out there. We have communication issues. We're going to guard our synagogue. We're going to get a security guy or someone volunteer to be a security guard. I want to wear body armor because you will be a bullet magnet or hire a security guard. I'm sure my boss will be happy to send someone down. But the idea is that, and they can be plain clothes, you know what I mean? But the idea is that you have a security mindset. I'm not here to be fed on. I mean, I'm here to come worship God. I'm going to provide security for my family, my loved ones, and it's just going to be a reality. He might actually have a real gun. This is not a real gun. Okay? The orange tip's always a clue, okay? But the idea is that he might actually have a real gun. I'm okay with that, okay? I want my family safe. I want to be able to focus on that. And again, we heard that sound, that banging sound. You did it on purpose, right? Sure. That was intense. I tell my security guys, I said, you get paid to go figure out what that bump in the night was, brother. So go find out what that was. And so the idea is that we're on point. We hear something, we look, we ask questions. Well, people are going to think this. I don't care. I'm way past caring about what people are. I try not to be rude, but I live in a world where my buddies are getting shot. We give out free stickers whenever our officers get killed. We have nice little funerals for them. I get tired of going to funerals. You know what I'm saying? So the idea is that, we need to be sensitive and have a mindset of security. And then when we go to a new environment, we check it out. Where's the ingress, egress? Where's the fire extinguishers? If God forbid there's a situation, you try to get out, you barricade if you have to. You finish up the lines through security, through your local. It's good, I think, to go to local leadership as well as the law enforcement side. It's good for the local person to know what's going on. And then it's incumbent upon the local person to work with their staff. I mean, you have very able people here. I mean, and then you have a what's her name? Margaret?
Margaret.
Now I'm in trouble. Sorry. But you're there every day, right? You administrate this thing. You might want to go and feed some information or your concerns. Like I said, I've walked in facilities that had really crazy exits. I'm like, people aren't going to get out. It's going to be in their E2 stampede. Sir.
What's your recommendation, philosophy on having a lockdown mechanism where, like, if you see someone in the parking lot, get out with a something, AK or something, where it is, do you lock everyone in, or do you still?
My daughter's been stripping AK since she was 7 years old. You should hire her for your security. She's eligible for her FYD card. She's 10 now. And she's finishing her black belt, so she'll do your security. I'm not a big fan of lockdown. Lockdown is what we do in jail. I operate with certain facilities, and I'll go in and they lock down, but it's a prison. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the concept of lockdown. And again, people that are like, people like to have control. No, it's not a control situation. We need to get these people out of here, okay? They need to get out of here. Now, you can have what's called the ORP, Organizational Rallying Point, military concept. You have a place away from the building that we gather, count heads. But I'm not worried about that. I want these people out, okay? And then I want the sheepdogs to step forward. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I appreciate your pretty guns and all that, but it's time to use those things, time to move forward, okay? Or whatever else you have to, whatever force multiplier. So I'm not a really big lockdown guy, okay? And then secondly, again, and I'm not trying to be whatever, but the idea is that this isn't a synagogue. And so it's not just some guy. Well, there actually is a guy. I got a picture of him. Do you know this guy that's shooting up the neighborhood around here? You guys know what I'm talking about? Who is this guy? You know what I'm saying? The guy that's hunting everybody?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
This guy?
Yeah.
Can't believe they haven't taken this. But the point is that with a synagogue, it's not just some drunk guy coming in, or it can be, but you're talking about people that have an ideology that they're trying to get you, and it's very clear. You know what I mean? And so you need to be concerned about double tap. Most active shooters are not double tapping. Some guy got mad at his girlfriend or his boss, disgruntled employee. But when you deal with a jihad, you get what's called a double tap. They'll have an event and then they'll follow up with something. That's rough.
Could you,
Margo.
thank you.
I'm in trouble.
Could you please make a recommendation or at least address that during services on Shabbat morning, there are adults in here and children may be in another space? What would we do?
You're really putting me on the spot when I'm on camera. So let me step back. I teach many facilities, billion-dollar operations downtown, private security firms, whatever. I go everywhere, okay? Have gun, will travel, right? But I've walked into little country churches, and the first door I see on the right-hand side is a nursery. I'm like, hey, pastor, I love you, but I mean, and this particular church I keep thinking of, the congregation was way down the hall. And so I said, someone come in here, snatch one of these kids and be out that door, and you could scream and they wouldn't even hear you. So I mean, my hair's standing up. You know what I'm saying? Because the bad guys that do this kind of stuff are hunters. They're predators. 1 in 10,000 predator, 1 in a million is a serial killer. We have 7 million people in Chicago. So there's 7 active serial killers out there. You know what I'm saying? Like that case I showed you in Indiana, there were six girls. Oh man. There's no kids here, right?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. Just young looking people, but no kids. This is really kind of adult stuff. It's kind of hard to dial it. I mean, I dial it down as best I can, but it's kind of rough material. So the bottom line is that I don't like the concept of locking down, because if you got someone who's working in tandem, like the Ripper crew, there was a team of guys. I mean, how are you going to, it's bad enough to take out one bad guy, but we got a team of guys. In fact, I'll throw this in. I shouldn't, I guess, but they've got these 3 van things now. Some of you guys have heard about this, where they try to catch girls going to the grocery store, which is why my wife doesn't go to the grocery store anymore at night. That's over with, okay? Because they'll pull up in 3 little minivans, grab someone into one of those vans, and go 3 different directions. Now, what you going to do? You don't even know which way they went. You familiar with the sex trafficking going on and so forth? Not good. And so the lockdown thing, works good for submarines and prisons, but it doesn't work so good for environments like this. The better model, I believe, in my humble opinion, is run, hide, fight. Okay?
With the kids in the front of the building.
I'm sorry, my bad. I got totally thrown off with this young lady. Not to be mean, but you're so young looking. I thought it was, I got totally thrown off. My bad. And I did it on tape too. Take that as a compliment. So my point is, okay, back to my little country church, is that, yeah, I'm real sensitive about nurseries being right by the front door, but that's not a nursery, is it?
With adults.
Yeah, you got to have some adults there. Yeah. So again, my point is that, you know, the bad guys are looking for soft targets. Kids are just a soft target. So you might want to have, you know, someone, you know, in excess of 200 pounds at sitting there. I mean, you know, I got security guys that have no necks. I mean, these guys benching 500 pounds, and we'll have a facility for 3 years and never have an incident. Well, who's going to mess with some dude who weighs 300 pounds and has no neck? You know what I mean? They just kind of fall. And one of the facilities said, "Oh, we don't need you guys. We're out." Within 2 hours, they had an incident. I mean, we thought it was a joke. I mean, you seriously want us to come back? Yeah, could you please come back? And they could have lost the whole business. When that brown chicken murder went down, obviously the lost lives, but they lost like what, 30 stores? How much money? You know what I mean? So you know, get your secure your facilities. And how do you recover from that? If it's in a newspaper, and I know a lot of stuff gets squashed in the nice neighborhoods, but sometimes it gets out. But the idea is that, you know, it gets in the newspaper that someone hurt some kid in your nursery. How's that do with your church attendance? You know what I mean? And again, a rabbi, a pastor, or whatever, has a fiduciary responsibility. I mean, people are going to look to you and say, hey, you know. So in answer to your question is, I'm very sensitive about the kids. I mean, because again, when I teach at school, they're all young teenagers. I mean, they can run. But when you have churches and churches inside the city limits, you know, you got older people, you got homeless people coming in, you got older people in these churches, you got little babies in nurseries. Well, that's crazy. So a lot of churches have these little tag systems. I don't know if you have. But the idea is that it's your question I find to be very problematic. I mean, so you might want to get together or have our guy come and do a security assessment and bump up the security a little bit. I mean, everyone likes cameras. Cameras just record what happened. You know what I mean? I like sound because the bad guys operated. The number one deterrent to crime is light, and number two, they don't like sound. So if you go to my house right now, there's a radio playing. You know, 24/7. I always have a radio playing, and there's a lot of computers by the front door. They don't work. Don't tell anybody. So I figure someone's going to grab those and go out the door. They don't want to sit there and listen to music. So the idea is that they don't like silence. They don't like light. Okay, cameras are nice, but cameras are not going to make the crime not happen. Sir.
Theory is great.
Mhm.
We're dealing with a reality here,
Mhm.
very specific reality. Margot asked a question. We've got kids out there.
Mhm.
We've got the front door. What do you suggest about that front door?
As I said, if you had a gentleman here who is designated as security, good 200-pound guy in that vicinity or in that room, that is a deterrent. And I gave you the example of how we had a certain facility here in Chicago, had a big guy sitting at the front door for 3 years, nothing happened. When he was gone within 2 hours, they almost lost the whole facility. They'd have lost millions.
Is it better if that guy is in uniform?
Well, again, to your rabbi is that if the advantage of having a security, identifiable security is, and again, my law enforcement guys will verify this, it's called a force continuum. Okay, is that when someone walks in the bank and there's a guy sitting there with a pistol, you know, the guys are like, wrong bank. Okay, so likewise, you have a guy that has security on his chest, on his back. Hopefully, the local cop will shoot him. You know what I mean? Not that that happened a month ago. Is that crazy? Okay? But the idea is that when people, for example, like when I get hired for bodyguard work, I do very few details. But if I get hired, you know, because someone really wants me to take care of whatever, I'm very visible. So when the guy's casing the place, he knows he's going to eat a long gun. You know what I mean? I have no intentions of dying. At least I'm not going to die alone. You know what I mean? So I'm very visible. I'm not saying you guys should carry a long gun, but the idea is that you can have security and it's visible, and that'll keep the drive-by people away. And then internally, if you just had a guy with a suit, and you know, the presence helps, because a lot of times people case places. For example, a church in Texas, the little country church. Help me out. What was it called? But yeah, it doesn't matter. But the idea is that the guy cased the place, you know, before.
It's a Bible study. He was in the Bible study group.
Okay.
He sat down with them.
Yeah, and so I take care of certain mega churches in the city, and trust me, they have security and they have non-visible security. But when someone goes in there and starts acting crazy, they just get snatched up. You know what I
To
mean?
answer your question, we have a security guard in front every Saturday morning, and we have a member of the synagogue who's a greeter who has been told what to do is wearing a panic button. So they gotta get through the security guard first, then our greeter who might alert someone, and then we're putting locks on those doors so that the adults can, in the room can lock the door, and there's a second exit, they can get out with the hands. There's a several mechanisms we've already.
Sweet.
That's what my.
That's good.
That's why.
You all are on point.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Does that help you, sir?
Heat lock on the front door.
Yeah.
On the front door?
Well,
No, we don't have, we have locks on the. on
We're
the
putting
nursery.
locks in those doors, we're putting locks
Not
on the
on the
doors,
front door.
we're putting all locks.
You're
in there.
putting a panic button in there.
And the doors are changing.
Right, we're changing doors.
So,
Excellent.
Philip, on the front door,
Go ahead.
is there a preference, there's been discussion about this, is there a preference of whether the door should just be straight out locked and the greeter should open the door when people come in?
Well, again,
There's a lot of places do that, and some people feel.
A mantra.
yeah, there's a couple issues here. Number one, you have fire issues. I
Well,
mean,
people can get out.
I understand, but I mean, the idea is that you have to address that issue. And then number two, again, the nature of your facility is not, I do stuff overseas, and I shouldn't say it on the mic either. The idea is that we do stuff overseas, and we have like 6 layers of security, and we still get people killed. I mean, you could have an armed camp and still get people killed. I don't know if you really want to have an armed camp. So the idea is that you got to kind of make those decisions. I mean, we'll be happy to come in and do an assessment and scope the whole place out and so forth. In fact, when I was studying your facility, first of all, you guys weren't even on Google Maps. How long has this place been here? Or is this like under short time? Yeah, okay, so
We consider that an advantage.
yeah, you guys are not on the radar.
Under the banner.
Yeah. So I thought, and then you got some kind of forest facility there, or some park or something. So again, a professional would want to know that. So the idea is that have someone do an assessment and have them answer that specifically. But again, my overall point is have visible security. He doesn't have to be super tactical, but he needs to be visible. And I teach my security guys step up to people, not to be rude or whatever, but like that North Carolina with a little blonde kid walked into a church. You know, I've gone to churches, and again, no brothers about it, but I mean, they're all 100% African American. 4,000 African American people. You know what I mean? And then there's one little blonde kid in the back. Someone needs to go sit with him. You know what I mean? Him in his little knapsack. You know what I'm saying? How you doing, friend? I'm so glad you came. You don't mind if I sit like right here, do you? You know what I mean? But it's nothing personal. But the idea is that it's just the world we live in. You know what I mean? It's a rough world. I don't know if that answers your question.
To highlight what you said, you need an assessment, and then you need to put your plan in process. But first, you have to find out what your vulnerabilities are. For those who do like weapons, there's a group called CCL, that's Concealed Carry Licensees, SHUL members, and you can share information, other synagogues, what they're doing. They have recently set up a greeting committee, where it's just not one, it's maybe 2. One person offsets the other. We had a situation in our synagogue, and to highlight, the threat is real. Don't think, like I spoke to the people of Bethel about carrying weapons. Oh, don't worry, the Highland Park Police Department, they're a minute and a half away. By the fall, it's over. It's the same with Northbrook. Don't rely on that. You need to have a your first breach, your outside guards, then you need people inside, and you have to know how to react. We had some guy come in on Friday night, and we have a little greeting committee, and I say, you from Dubuque? And obviously the guy wasn't from Dubuque, he looked Mideastern, and he had a long coat on, and I had one of our other security people talk to him, and he got us 2 IDs. One was Youssef, he was obviously Mideastern, not from the right part of the world, and the 2 badges did not match. And I said, would you like to take your coat off? He said, no. And I looked at my other guy, and I said, hey, eyes on him. And then I said to him, I said, Henry, I get your kids out of here. I don't like the fact that he wouldn't take off his coat. He was casing the place. He had no idea where we were in the prayer book, and he's looking around, and you could see grimaces in his face, trembling hands, a little nervous. And finally he comes up to me and he says, you seem to be a little concerned with me. I said, yes, I am. Now step outside. And I had my other guy go, I said, okay, now take off your coat. I said, Henry, frisk him. Now, luckily there was nothing there, but we were very concerned that he might have had a suicide vest, or what was he having under his coat. It's called situational awareness.
Absolutely.
This guy did not belong there. It's a fish out of water. I mean, try to use common sense. And then he contacted the police department. One thing to say, well, you did the right thing. And he had other contacts in Europe. Because of his contacts in Europe, the FBI got involved, and we chased the guy down.
Well, another thing a lot of churches do, and again, I'm familiar with the Shul group and so forth. I train a lot of synagogues, And I know a lot of guys. I know those people. Good people, by the way. In fact, I train a lot of people. But the bottom line is that we take, a lot of churches will take pictures. And you mind if I take a picture? And so I walk in the security office of church and they got all these pictures on the wall. And so the idea is that, again, it's about security awareness. It's about getting together with Shul or our group or whatever, or both, and enhancing your security. Okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Any more questions we have, we appreciate you coming by. It's very helpful. Thank you.
Sure. Tony, thank you very much. Hey, God bless you. Pleasure to. Thank you. God bless you. Shalom, right? How you doing? Okay.
They couldn't care less about We had a security. They were they said some people say it's good or it's something. They said you'd rather be able to see we have only one spot on the side here, which that's how I look at it. It's a government building. My drive to it shouldn't be out. She wants to take a picture. Yeah, she could show that we actually had this plan. They had security. We get to have a picture. Flash shows